So far, we've seen that as professional firefighters, you have a duty to maintain communication to superiors and subordinates, among your coworkers, and with other crews at all times. Open communication increases your crew's situation awareness. We also talked about barriers to communication and tools you can use to improve your ability to communicate effectively. Now, we're going to bring all these together and apply them as your 5 communication responsibilities on the fire line.
Briefing, debriefing, communicating hazards to others, acknowledging and understanding messages, asking if you don't know. These responsibilities are the final communication tool we'll discuss.
The first communication responsibility is the briefing. Now, you may have been to a pre-shift briefing, and you probably think a briefing is something you get from your supervisor, but that's not always true. Everyone has the responsibility to brief others. For example, when someone from another crew who may be new to the fire asks you what's happening, you conduct a brief.
Hey guys, can you hold it a second?
Yeah.
Hi, I just got in with a strike team of engines. We're looking for Division H.
Yeah, that's Division H. Pretty big place, though. We got about 6 shock crews and a bunch of dozers here. Pretty spread out.
That sounds typical. This is my first big fire of the season.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you where the division soup is, but we just got dropped off here. We haven't seen him.
That's no big deal. We're supposed to do a hose lay at drop point 8. Do you have any idea where drop point 8 might be?
Yeah, drop point 8's about a quarter mile down the road, and a big bend in the trees. You can't miss it. It's just right there, so.
Okay, cool. That sounds great. You guys been here a while?
Yeah, I got here yesterday morning.
Oh, good. Can you give me some info on what's going on with the fire?
Yeah, got here yesterday morning, and this is Division H. The fire made a pretty good run up this slope right here yesterday morning, and about 1500 we had some problems with fire behavior and spotting due to the winds yesterday, and about 1500, and we were down here today. We're down here, our crew, flanking this side, cutting off a bunch of fingers in preparation to burn tonight past drop point 8 there. The expected weather for today is pretty much what it was yesterday, hot and dry, and around 1500 they're expecting these northwest winds to bring in some problem fire behavior.
And how far does Division H go down?
Just past drop point 8 there, and then it turns into Division I, and you'll see a crew down there, Mesa number 1, I think, and Hal Brown is the crew boss, and that's about all I can tell you.
What TAC frequency are you guys working off of?
168/300.
Okay, hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
All right, no problem.
Take it easy. Okay, you too.
The second communication responsibility is to debrief. Exactly what is a debrief? Well, there are a lot of terms for this process. After-action review, critique, post-mortem exercise. The names don't really matter, but the concept is vital. The most successful high-risk work teams use this review process. Now, this isn't about whining or laying blame. It's about learning what happened, so the next time around, the crew performs a little better.
Now, John, you were kind of in the middle, right?
I was one down from Rich.
Okay, so how did it go from your perspective?
It seemed awfully slow.
Although a review of the fire might be useful after it's over, the most effective after-action review will occur right after each operational period. This is when everything is still fresh in your mind, and everyone that was there is still around.
This is the terrain we're fighting in. We're going to either be going uphill or downhill. And
Sorry, go ahead.
no, it's all right.
The other thing is, too, though, is that,
As a crew member, it's important not only for you to be there, but also to actively participate. Every professional firefighter must evaluate what's happened and apply what he or she has learned. That's the heart and soul of the After-Action Review, or AAR as it's sometimes called. The After-Action Review consists of 4 basic parts: what was planned, what actually happened, why did it happen, and what can we do better next time. Going through the debriefing process helps to improve you and your crew's performance each and every time you go out. The third communications responsibility is to identify hazards for others. This is essential for professionals working in any high-risk environment. Every firefighter has an obligation to keep others informed of potential danger. In the military, every paratrooper, from general to private, knows that during a jump, when they see something they perceive as unsafe, it's their duty to stop the jump. They do this through using a standard signal of placing their hand palm forward on top of the anchor line cable. This is their standard operating procedure for communicating a hazard, and it's part of their professional duty. Even if they're unsure about whether there's a problem or not, these soldiers know it's better to run the risk of a little embarrassment if they're wrong, rather than have a death or injury of someone else on their conscience. The leaders here usually make a point of recognizing that the person had the moral courage to do the right thing, regardless of whether or not there was a major hazard.
We've all seen what can happen to a message if it's not completely understood, which brings us to the next step in your communications responsibilities. Remember a little while ago when I was talking about the importance of frequently changing roles between sender and receiver? Well, this technique goes hand in hand with your responsibility to acknowledge and understand the messages you receive.
Just as direct statements reinforce the sender side of the communication process, receivers can also do things to make the process more effective. That's what the responsibility to acknowledge and understand messages is all about.
Now, one of the easiest ways to understand a message is simply to repeat the sender. This is a common procedure in most standard radio communications.
Southwest 863, they're going to leave the 810's runway heading, and after your departure, turn right heading 230 and join J7.
That's departure 230 heading to join J7, Southwest 863.
Southwest 863, contact departure. Good day.
Departure Southwest 863, thank you.
You can do the same thing when you're in the role of the receiver. This not only verifies that you have the message correct, it also gives feedback to the sender that the message was understood.
The fire line is a constantly changing environment. As a firefighter, you're expected to adapt and change to meet the challenges these changing conditions present and still accomplish your mission. So to be adaptable, you have to understand the mission. In the military, they call this concept commander's intent. Understanding the objectives of the mission enables soldiers to adapt and to improvise when events don't go as planned.
When we talk about the responsibility to acknowledge and understand a message, a big part of understanding is knowing the sender's intent. Have you ever been given instructions for a task where you weren't completely sure what you were expected to do? It happens, doesn't it? Well, as a supervisor giving instructions, you need to make sure that the listener understands your intent. And as a firefighter receiving those instructions, you need to make sure you understand the message and its intent, and that you acknowledge to the sender that you do understand. If you don't, ask questions. Keep that communication cycle going until you know everything you need to know. And that's the fifth communications responsibility. If you don't know, ask.
Hey, watch out for firewalls.
Hey, watch out for firewalls.
Watch out for firewalls. Watch out for firewalls.
Firewall? What's a firewall anyway?
What's a firewall? I don't know. What's a firewall?
Hey, what's a firewall?
What's a firewall?
No, I said Fire World. What's for Fire World?
Oh, okay. Firewalls, you know. Firewalls?
Oh, got it. Fireworld.
Good leaders appreciate and value a crew member who asks questions because they know that crew member is paying attention and actively listening. Good leaders also know that it's better to take the time to answer a question now than to fix a mistake later. A variety of experience levels on a crew makes asking questions even more critical. A new or lesser experienced crew member might not understand what the leader assumes everybody already knows. If you're an experienced crew member, you can set the tone for this responsibility by asking questions, especially at debriefings. Even if you already know the answers, your questions will help clarify the issues for lesser experienced members of the crew. and set an example for the new crew members so they won't be afraid to ask questions in the future. As a member of the team, you've got the responsibility to make your co-workers better at what they do.